Hello, it's Kira for Shakti Power Yoga. Go ahead and press play on any music that you like and come join me on the mat for a legs focused practice. This practice will be challenging and really power up the legs. We are going to start in Virasana, Hero's Pose. So in this pose, we want to keep our knees together, create some space between the heels, and sink the butt down until it touches the ground. This is a great stretch in the ankles and in the quadriceps. So if your butt hovers off the ground, that's completely fine. Crown of the head reaches towards the sky, nice and tall, shoulders roll back. Stay here another 3 breaths. Now walk the hands straight out in front of you and come into Balasana, child's pose. Keep the knees pretty close together. And another 3 breaths here. Now walk both hands over towards the right and get a nice side body stretch along the left side. Walk the hands back through center and then over to the left, and side body stretch on the right side. Now walk the hands back towards center and wiggle out the knees so that you come into a wide-legged child's pose. Stretching into the hips here. Now walk the hands back towards the body. Come into a toe stand. And then crown of the head reaching upwards, rise slowly to Tadasana. Come to the top of the mat. We are going to take 3 rounds of Surya Namaskara B. So starting in chair pose, big toes together, a little bit of space in the heels, and arms sweep towards the ground, and then come up into your chair pose, straight line from the hips to the top of the fingers. Utkatasana. Sink low, chest up. Uttanasana, forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Crown of the head reaches straight forward. Spine long. Plant the palms, step back into plank or jump back into Chaturanga, Dandasana. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep your back straight in downward dog and take another breath. Bring your right leg forward into Warrior One. You can widen your right foot over to the side of the mat if that helps you bring your hips towards the front of the mat. Keep a right angle in the front leg. Gaze up. Virabhadrasana 1. Hands come to the floor, Chaturanga Dandasana again, into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana and Adho Mukha Svanasana. This time left foot comes forward into Warrior One. Gaze up again. Hands down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step forward. Ardha Uttanasana. And now fold down Uttanasana. From here, hands sweep against the ground, Utkatasana, chair pose. Utkatasana means fierce pose, so really fire up the legs in this pose. Sit the butt as low as you can and keep the hands reaching diagonally towards the front of the room. And forward fold again, second round. Halfway lift. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot comes forward, Warrior One. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot comes forward, Warrior One. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step up, half forward fold. And full forward fold. Activate the thighs, hands reach down, and then sweep up into chair pose. Forward fold. Half forward fold. Plant the palms, jump back, Chaturanga. And then lift up into plank. We are going to add a plank variation here. So lift your right hand towards the front of the room. If you're comfortable here, add your left foot. Two more breaths. and return to plank. We'll take the other side. Left hand rises up. Stay here or add the right leg. Two more breaths. Great, come back to chaturanga and reach up into up dog. Downward facing dog. We'll relax here for a moment more since we just worked a little bit into plank pose. Now right foot comes forward into warrior one. Plant the palms, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Sweep left leg forward. Find warrior one on the left side. Hips twisting towards the front, hands tall. Look up. Hands find the mat and back into downward facing dog. Step up, half forward fold. And forward fold. We're about to move into a chair series. So we will be holding chair pose and then resting to recover in a forward fold. So if at any point I am holding a chair pose longer than you feel like holding chair pose today, then you can go ahead and move into forward fold, and I will be joining you in your forward fold shortly after. Now, hand sweep upward, sit into chair pose. Remember, this chair pose means fierce pose, okay? Utkatasana. So we want to activate the thighs. Hands reach very, very long in front of you to make sure that you're keeping your back straight. Tailbone tucks, and just hold this here. You're doing great. Make sure the chest stays forward, the head stays long. Sink a little bit lower. Three more breaths. And forward fold. You can twist side to side in your forward fold, grabbing the shin on either side and kind of holding for a little twist. Just let the head hang and relax a little bit. A few more breaths here before we start our second round. And sit back, chair pose. Hands are going to come to heart, and then tuck your left elbow against your right knee to come into a twist. In this twist, make sure your spine is staying very long. The most important thing to do here is make sure that your knees stay level so that the left knee doesn't push past the right knee. Keep them straight. If you can do that, really push into your left elbow to open up fully in the chest. Ideally, your chest would be centered in your hands. If you're comfortable here, you can bring the gaze towards the ceiling to complete that twist. Sink down a little lower. We're getting close on this side. You're doing great. 3 more breaths. Come back through center, forward fold. Now I'm sure you know the other side is coming next. So relax in this forward fold and try to fully recover. Let your legs stretch. Appreciate your legs and what they can do for you. Send them some love. A few more breaths. Hand sweep down and forward. Back into chair pose. This time bring the right elbow to the left knee and twist on this side. Head stays reaching towards the front of the room. Elongate in that twist. Every inhale, reach the torso long. Every exhale, twist a little deeper. Gaze towards the sky if you wish. Sink down. Check on your knees, make sure they're even. We're almost here on this side. You're doing so great. Two more breaths. And forward fold. Great job. Just relax here again. We are going to do one more round. This is going to be just a normal chair pose again, Utkatasana, no twisting. If you're done, stay in forward fold. If you want to do one more round with me, go ahead up, chair pose. If your legs are on fire, stick with it. Chair pose is one of the best poses for your quads. We're halfway there for this last round. And once we're done, we're going to stretch out the quads and it will feel amazing. So stick with this for the last few breaths. sink lower. Bring your biceps towards your ears and then lower the shoulders down the back. Reach long. 2 more breaths. Great job, forward fold. Plant the palms. Hop back to Chaturanga and then lower all the way down. We're going into half frog pose, Ardha Pekasana. So take your right hand and place it in front of your head. You're going to use your right forearm to support you as you reach back with the left hand and grab hold of the left foot. Thumb should be facing upward, and this should be an excellent quad stretch on the left side. Go ahead and release that foot. We're just going to move on to the other side. So left forearm comes in front of you to support, right arm reaches backward, thumb facing upwards, and grabs hold of the right foot. If you can, keep your hip bones sinking into the mat, so don't lift up on that right side. Release that foot. Bring both of the hands long down your sides and rest one cheek on the mat. We're going to come into Dhanurasana, bow pose. And this time we're grabbing a hold of both feet at once and really kicking into them to lift the whole torso off the ground. Go ahead and come into bow pose right now. If you are kicking into your hands hard, this will be another quad strengthening move. So really push as far as you can. And release. Rest on the other cheek. Hands come back towards the chest and lift up into cobra pose. Transition using the knees to downward facing dog. Step or hop into forward fold. And now roll onto the back. Lie down. So we worked our quads. Now we're going to move on to glutes. So walk the heels towards the bottom and then take bridge pose. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Lift up, hips towards the ceiling. Your hands can be at your sides or they can wiggle their way under your back. Bind your hands and lift the hips a little bit higher. Really press into the shoulders and keep the neck long. 3 more breaths. Lower all the way down. Bring the feet together and knees splay out to the sides into reclined bound angle pose. Stay on the ground. Supta Baddha Konasana. We are going to come back into bridge 2 more times. So relax here for another breath. Bring the knees back towards center and come into bridge again. You can take the same variation as last time. If your hands were at your sides, maybe you want to move them and take a bind this time. Two more breaths. And come right back into Supta Baddha Konasana. Open your hips. Relax here. We have one more round of bridge pose. This time we are going to stay on the tiptoes in order to work the calves a little bit. So come back with your knees towards the center, but walk your feet a little bit further in than for your normal bridge pose, just to make sure your knees stay in good alignment when we come onto the toes. And now lift all the way up into bridge pose on the toes. Make sure your hips are not lower just because you're on your toes. Deep breaths, long spine. And go ahead and lower back down. Take reclined bound angle pose one more time. From here, use your arms to lift your torso up. Your feet are going to come into the same position as they were in for bridge pose, but your hands are going to come behind you with your fingertips facing towards your feet. Try to create a box between your feet and your hands. It should be in a little square. And now we're going to lift all the way up into tabletop. So hips are going to reach towards the sky here. Head can fall back if that's comfortable for you. Strong through the legs. One more breath. and lower down. You can repeat tabletop a second time, or you can come into Purvottanasana. So hands are in the same position behind you, fingertips facing towards your feet. Your legs are now long so that when you come up, you are resting only on your hands and your feet. Hips still have to raise high. Go ahead and come into upward plank now. This is a challenging pose, so stay with it as long as you can. Feel free to come into tabletop if you need that. We're here for another few breaths. And now lower down. Cross your feet in front of you. Bring your hands in front of your feet. And then slide into hero's pose again. We're going to take Supta Virasana now. So if your glutes are on the floor, that's great. Come with me. If not, just stay in hero's pose. If you're comfortable here, go ahead and exhale as you lower your back torso towards the ground. First, lean on your hands, then your forearms and elbows. Stay here if this feels like a stretch. If you're comfortable here and your front ribs haven't started jutting out, then you can go ahead and lie all the way back. It's all right if the knees slightly raise, as long as they don't push out wider than the hips. This should be restorative, so come out of it if it feels like you're working. Great. Now we're going to rise up. Come to kneeling and then rise up to be kind of standing on your knees. We're going to take Ustrasana here, camel pose. So start with your hands supporting your lower back and come into a back bend. If you feel a great stretch in your back, stay here. If you want, you can bring one hand at a time towards the feet to lower down into camel pose. Your thumbs should be facing out. Relax the neck. It's a deep back bend here. 2 more breaths. And start to come out of it. Okay, we have one more round of quad work. So start with a stretch. Bring the left foot to standing, kind of, and then lower back into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Get a nice stretch in that left leg. Tuck the right toes and come up into crescent high lunge. Hands reach towards the sky, right angle in the left leg, and right leg stays straight. few more breaths. You're doing great. And now push out of the right foot and come into standing half splits. Urdhva Prasarita Eka Padasana. Make sure the hips stay level here. Great, now lower back into Uttan Pristasana, lizard pose. So both hands are to the inside of the left foot. This is just stretching out that left hamstring in a different way. And then left hand reaches back. Come into a twist. If you want, you can reach the right foot up to meet the left hand and take a quad stretch on the right side. And come back around towards lizard pose, but then start to walk the left foot over to behind the right hand and come into pigeon pose, Eka Pada Vrajakopotasana. Your back leg is extended straight. You're rooting down through the back of the foot on that right side, and you can stay risen up or lower down into sleepy pigeon. Start to rise up. Walk that left foot back and come into downward facing dog. We are going to take all of that on the other side. Bring the right foot forward into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Your knee is down, and this is just a deep stretch. Tuck the toes on the left foot and come into crescent high lunge. Work the right quad by keeping a right angle in that leg. Crown of the head reaches up. Stay nice and tall. Stay strong. A few more breaths here. And shoot forward into half splits. Hands are on the ground. Head reaches towards the ground. Lift that left leg up a little bit higher. And now lower that left leg back down into lizard pose with your right foot forward. Both hands are on the inside of the right foot. Uttan Pristhasana. Start to twist the torso towards the right. Bring the right hand back behind you, and if you want, you can lift the left foot to meet the right hand. This is an intense quad stretch. You don't need to go here. Release the foot, come back towards center. Start walking the right foot over to behind the left hand and come into pigeon pose, Eka Pada Rajakaprasana. Extend the back leg, root down through the back foot, stay tall or lower down into sleepy pigeon. Start to come out of this and return to downward facing dog. Step or jump forward into standing forward fold. Now we're going to play a little bit with stability and show ourselves just how strong our legs are. So we're going to take Garudasana first, eagle pose. So root into the left foot. Left toes will spread out, and you're going to root evenly into all four corners of the foot. Your right leg will come on top of the left leg and maybe wrap around the calf. Then you can lower down so that you're basically in a chair pose. Your right arm will swoop under the left arm and your hands will twist around each other. Stay here. One more breath here. Rise up out of the left leg, but don't lower the right foot to the ground. Instead, come into Lord of the Dance pose. So right hand finds right leg, kick into it, lean the torso a little bit forward, Natarajasana. Gaze is steady, lower down. We're going to take a forward fold here, a bound forward fold, Baddha Hastasana. So bring your hands under the feet while bending the knees, and then only if you can, comfortably straighten out the knees once you're bound in gorilla pose. Rise up. We'll take the other side. Root into the right foot, spread the right toes. Feel strong in the right leg. Bring the left leg on top. Twist it around the calf and lower down. Left arm comes below the right arm as your hands intertwine. Sink a little bit lower, 2 more breaths. Press up tall. Grab the left foot, with the left hand and come into dancer pose. Kick hard into the left foot. Gaze straight ahead. Great job. Keep kicking. One more breath here. And release that foot. Come into forward fold. Plant the palms, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Our last bit of leg work will be calf raises. So bring the right foot to press down on the left ankle into a three-legged dog. And now we're just going to take calf raises with the left foot. So fully extend, point the left foot, and then lower down. Raise up, lower down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Last two. Up, down. Up, down. Great. Take the other side. Left foot comes to act as a weight on the right ankle. And now rise up, flex the foot, and come down. Come up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Two more. Up, down. Up, down. Great. Now, just relax. Come into a kneeling position and then roll onto the back. We're going to take a shoulder stand. So bring the legs up. Support the back with the hands. Salamba Sarvangasana. The work is over. Great job today. This was a hard practice. You should be very proud of yourself for coming onto the mat today and choosing such a hard practice to complete. Bring your feet over past your head, Halasana, plow pose. Your feet don't have to touch the ground if this is too intense. One more breath here. Now roll down into a happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. Your shoulders and tailbone should press into the mat here. Appreciate your legs. It's astonishing what you're able to do. And now come into Shavasana. Everything relaxes, melt into the mat. Face relaxes. Hands spill to the sides. Roll over to your side. Cradle the head into the bicep, bend the knees. Take a breath here, and then rise up and find an easy seat. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. The weather here is beautiful. I'm thankful for my ability to practice and for this beautiful weather. What are you thankful for today? Bring your thumb knuckles up to your third eye. Bow forward, namaste. Great practice.